Howdy, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of JT Real Talk Industry Leaders. Enjoy.
Hey, Michael, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Just making it through a Wednesday morning.
He's well. Been
Yeah.
busy. Well, cool, man. Thanks for being here. So, just kind of want to lay out how this is going to go moving forward. Essentially, you may be curious about the name of my company, Elevate Automate. What we do is we talk to real estate business owners, leaders, and see how we can help them grow their business, have more success in whichever direction they're looking to go.
Sure.
Cool. Okay, man. So, with the conversation we had before, I mean, you have a lot of great information that you provided. So, just how about you start off with introducing yourself? Tell me where you guys are located, and maybe that 30,000 overlook of the business itself.
Sure. Sure. So again, Michael Smith with Classic Country Land. We're based in Allen, Texas. That's where our home office is. We sell property in 21 different states across the country, and we specialize more in the rural off-grid style properties. So maybe, uh, you know, as you're driving down the highway and you just see miles and miles of undeveloped land, and you're like, who in the world owns that? Type of thing. And so our model is very unique. In my one of my networking groups, I'm called a unicorn for what we do. And our model is simple, where we'll take large parcels of that undeveloped land, subdivide those into smaller parcels, and sell those off parcel by parcel. But what separates us from the general run-of-the-mill land purchasing company is we owner finance all of our properties. And so we break the mold of the general land buying process. So individuals that would think, well, man, I got to go to the bank and credit union and I got to get this loan for something, and I got to have 30 or 40% down to do something of that nature. We break that mold and make it very, very simple, the simple buying process for that, where the general public that may not have that large amount to put down on a property, you can put as little as 500 or 1,000 down and really get into a property and have those dreams of land ownership in that realm. That wouldn't be possible if we didn't do what we do or how we do it.
Got you. So I'm looking at your premium most popular option here. Um, can you explain that a little bit for us? I
Sure.
see there's a 10% discount, save at least the 31K plus at 8.9% rate, no credit check with that $1,000 down. Maybe walk me through the beginning process if somebody saw a big chunk of land or saw that you guys had it and it's parceled off, kind of where they would begin with you and the steps that it would take for them to actually get into one of those parcels.
Sure, great question. So as somebody would peruse through our website and see the inventory that we have and pick out that specific property, currently we have 4 different financing options to choose from. And each of those options have their own respective down payment amount and respective interest rate. All of those numbers are based off of a 20-year term, as that's the longest that we would do. And so those numbers on the website reflect that. Yet we can do a 20, 15, 10, or 5-year term, whichever is most best suited for your budget and what you're wanting to do there. But I always have a safety net for my customers as well, and giving them no penalty for prepayment. So just because it's set on a 20-year term, if they were to pay it off in say 5 or 10 years, they're only paying 5 or 10 years worth of interest, not the entire 20. So if they wanted to pay us that 20 years of interest, I guess we'll take it, type of thing. But it gives them that safety net to do that. And so that particular package that you were looking at, the premium package, $1,000 down payment. We have a closing cost of only $249, so $1,249 out of pocket gets them up the property that they want, and then your first monthly payment begins the following month. We do allow the customers to begin using and improving the property day one. And so I always tell my customers, if you want to get out there and run around naked in the woods, more power to you, man. You can do that day one. That's your choice.
Yeah.
So you have that ability to do that. So, but yeah, it's pretty simple. I always tell customers too, our purchase process is very similar to buying a vehicle or financing a vehicle versus the standard land or home buying process where you have a closing date of 30 or 60 days out. We do all of our contracts online. And so as soon as that customer makes that initial payment, within a couple hours, we're going to have their contract emailed out to them for their review and e-signature. And we operate under a contract for deed. And so the contract for deed, again, in the paralleling with the buying of the vehicle, it's like your title on your car, where your title has your name as well as your lender's name on that. And then once you pay that vehicle off, you get a brand new title with just your name. Same premise that we do. We operate under a contract for deed, and that contract for deed shows you're a landowner, have a right to be there. But once you pay the property off, then we file the full deed transfer into your name at that point.
Amazing, amazing, really seamless process. And yeah, especially these days, there's all kinds of hoops and issues that people may have to go through.
Sure.
Become a simple property owner. Curious, do you guys provide maybe vendors? Say somebody wants to start a homestead or something like that, and really get to work on building that for themselves. Do you have connections that way to where it's next step process for a land buyer who may be able to go ahead and get that going?
Sure. And it's relative to the location that they choose their property in, because our hotbed states right now, Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, we've seen a lot of development over the 26 years that we've been in business. I mean, I've been with the company for the last 7. Those last 7 seen a real explosion in those states of locations that we have developed. And so we begin to build relationships in those specific counties or those areas that, as a customer says, well, okay, we've got your land taken care of. Do you have a contact for somebody who does land clearing, or do you have a contact for somebody that is a home builder? We're very discreet, maybe the right word, or it may not be the right word, but we just deal in the land side of things. So, I can point you in a direction and be like, hey, I have a guy who does that, or maybe, this is where you need to go to check those out and have those synergy partners. But it's just relative to the location. Since the properties that we sell are zoned residential and recreational, it gives people a wide umbrella for what they're wanting to do with the property. And some people just want it for investment purposes. Some people want a bug out spot. I mean, during COVID, we learned that during COVID, people want a bug out spot. When the craziness of the big city happens and you don't where, you have a place that you can go to retreat to. People look for hunting property. They look for camping. They just want the weekend warrior type thing in place that they know that they can go as well. Or then you have the people that you mentioned that fully want a homestead. They want this retirement. They want to get out and they want to get away. And this gives them an avenue to do that as well.
Right. Excellent. Yeah, I had this idea recently about sort of like a barn, or rather a farm in the box company, where there's a company that could help you get the land and then provide you kind of that farm in the box, where it's like, okay, you pay for this package and we're going to build you that homestead, and we're going to build you the barn and the carousel and the garden beds and things like that. Have you guys ever thought about doing something like that, kind of a one-stop shop?
So that there's always room for innovative things. I always love the idea for growth and different avenues of the company. We have been very strategic in knowing that what we do and how we do works, and so not getting away from that foundational aspect of things, where we'd love to partner with somebody and say, hey, if you're wanting to go this next step, this is your avenue to go. But right now we're good just doing what we do, in that realm. But I think that is something, and that idea is definitely something to explore and feasible. I think that there's a lot of people that will do that. Backtracking just a little bit with our properties and the type of properties that we seek to purchase. Some of our properties are fully off-grid style properties, that there is not electricity, there's not utilities in those areas just because of how rural it is. Now, some of them do, and we have, relative to the locations and things like that, where you may have properties that have full, paved county roads that the property borders up to. There may be just gravel roads and electricity and rural water lines and things like that. But then you may have some that are just out there, and living off the land. And, of course, you do have full water rights, so you can drill a well for water, you can put in septic, you can do those things. It just really depends on how wild and crazy you want to go. And we cater to those individuals that desire to have the blank canvas and they get to paint their own picture type thing.
Excellent. And yeah, like you said just a little bit earlier, I mean, you guys are good with what you're doing. Don't fix what's not broke. And sometimes that's just the way to go. If that's proving successful. Curious though, Michael, are there any growth opportunities that you guys have been looking for, or possible pain points that you just can't seem to get over with your operations, or just in the general day to day?
So we we're very innovative on the back end side of things of creating our own um, uh, billing system and having the departments here in the company. So currently we have I think a little over 20 individuals here in the office that are separated between three different departments. We have our field development department, and those are the individuals who are going out boots on the ground, meeting with the surveyors, meeting with the road guys, all of those things is after that property has been purchased, taking pictures, hanging the signs, building the parts of the website, that aspect of things. And then we have our loan servicing department that takes care of all of the financial side of things and the monthly billing and the collections and keeping all of the data and all of those aspects of things. And then we have our sales department, which is what I am in, and I'm managing. So I have my sales team that are doing things, but we're the innovative side of advertising and marketing. Social media is what we predominantly advertise in, and having the inbound leads that come in for that. There has been a shift in the paradigm of how Facebook does their advertising now and things like that. And so just the constant staying on top of that and how we do that, searching for the synergy partners, whether that be in the marketing firms or things like that, and just essentially trying to get the best leads as possible. And of course, from the business side of it, you want it as cheap as possible.
Right.
But I always adhere to the rule of fast, cheap, and good. And you can only have two out of the three type thing. So it's making sure that we're making those decisions that are best for us in the long run going forward to continue to build the business.
Got it. You mentioned earlier the specific states that you guys mostly work in.
Mhm.
Is that just because there's big hurdles or bureaucracy in other states, or is there any certain reason for that?
So there are states that don't allow us to do what we do. We would love to be in the Southeast, Georgia, the Carolinas, but they have state rules and laws that want you to do like subdivision licensing if you split property up more than so many times. And explaining a little bit more too, like we don't like to do more than or anything smaller than 3 to 4 acres per parcel. Again, our clientele base, they want the elbow room. They
Right.
don't want, they're living in the city. They don't want to be right next to their neighbors. They want that space. We would love to have property in Montana and North Dakota, South Dakota. Those states don't allow you to split up the property more than 4 times. Well, then that doesn't really fit into our matrix and what we do. Pacific Northwest is another one. The Northeast, Vermont, New Hampshire, those are very big off grid friendly states.
Hmm.
It's just their property is so stinking expensive. And so if it's going to cost us more to buy them, it may begin to price out our customer base. And if we can't sell it, why would we buy it in the first place? And so then we go back to the kind of what you said, what works. And we've been very successful in these areas. We have recently, in the last couple of years, broken into Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Arkansas seems to really be taking off because of all of this. I mean, it's not a whole lot different from Missouri and how successful we've been in Missouri. So, if we can do it and we can find the land that is suitable for what we want to do, then we are gates open, let's do it type thing.
Great, great. And that was going to be my next question as to how you're finding the land. So you're obtaining leads who are looking to purchase land off of you guys,
Sure.
but how are you specifically finding that land that makes it a good buy?
So I have an individual here in our office that amongst other hats that she wears, our land acquisition manager. And so she is, continually scouring the internet for those things. Because of the time frame that we have done what we've done over the years, you begin to build relationships with realtors in those areas and things like that. As those synergy partners, it's advantageous for them because of course they're selling, they're, a part of the sale, so they're getting paid on it. So at those, we build those relationships. There's a lot of times that they will reach out to us and be like, hey, Michael, Emma, Scott, hey, we got the property that we think that would be great for you because of what you've done in the past. And so there's times that they bring those properties to us and that. Now that's one avenue. The other avenue, which is part of my responsibility, is we do have an investor program. And the investor program is individuals who have X amount of dollars that they're looking to, invest in land, and we go find a property based off of what they have investment wise, and we partner together on that specific location and split dividends off of that. Or the individuals who already have the land. Last night I was actually having dinner with an individual who has some land up in Oklahoma, and he wanted to know, it was 160 acres, and he's like, how many times could you split that up? What would my revenue be? He ended up purchasing that property for around $100,000, and I was showing him through our matrix that I could probably turn that into about 650,000 over a 20-year term. And it was just like, what? How? Show me. And what's great about it is because we've been in business for the time frame that we have, it's not a conceptual idea. I have the data that shows it. And when I was able to lay it out and go, hey, here's a property in Oklahoma that's around the similar size and around the similar price, and this is what they're getting paid out on a monthly basis. And it's just a win-win for all of them. I mean, I'm actually doing that myself. So it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, that's great. Well, again, kind of bringing it back to, I mean, it sounds like you guys really have a seamless process. You've spoken about your matrix a few times. As far as, again, kind of coming back to anything that might be that hurdle, or actually tell me this, in the next 6 to 12 months, where do you see your specific niche in the industry going, and where do you guys hope to be after 6 to 12 months?
Sure. So, I mean, the continuing aspect of adding more locations, our target is always to add a minimum of one new location per month. Being based here in Texas, we would love to have more Texas property. That is a hurdle, but everything is the expense aspect of things here, is a factor in that. So, answering your question about the hurdles, I, on a personal basis, would love to be able to find more individuals or have more at bats to talk to people about our partnership opportunities in our investor program, and then just continuing to add more properties in our inventory that would cause the need to continue to grow each individual department because of, okay, we have X amount of properties that are in our possession that need to get developed. Well, now I have a team of 5 guys. I would love to have a team of 10 guys that are out there on property, getting it developed and getting on the website. I would love to take my sales team from 5 people to 10 people and have those things. So those are the hurdles, but it's a double-edged sword to know that if we are able to do that, it has to be continued. That longevity has to be continued. So always attempting to think outside the box. Again, not leaving what got us here, because we've proven that what we do works, but there's always room for improvement, because I feel that if you have the mindset of that's the way we've always done it, that's a death sentence for any company. So I think that I know that was real broad in answering that question for you. But yeah, the hurdle of continuing to add properties and having the at bats personally to talk to people about our investor program and partnership program.
Got you. So maybe a focused and dedicated way to outreach to possible partners or investors. I worked with a guy a couple of years ago who explained it to me this way. He was looking to purchase properties like a penny stock. So getting it for low and then holding on to it, prospecting it for the future,
Sure.
to see what it could turn into. I think there has to be, a market there that may be untapped, that, or at least given that the technology we have today, there may be opportunities there that we can kind of pinpoint those folks and get to them somehow, whatever means that may be through the certain type of business that they run
Mhm.
specifically, because frankly, look, people with money want to make more of it. If there's a way
That's exactly right. Yep, you're
to,
exactly right. Yeah, and that's the deal of I love the fact that what we do is not conceptual. It's not like we're sitting here and we go, "Hey, we think this is the way it's going to go." I by no means I ever make promises to people, but when I can show you 20 different instances where the ROI on an investment has given between 20 and 25% annually, like stock market doesn't give you that. Plus, the safety net of the partnership side of things is when somebody desires to be a part of that, the property is purchased in their name, so they own that asset. So if Classic Country Land were, God forbid, ever to go belly up, which we, no plan for that to ever happen, but if it does, you still own your asset. You have your asset that has value. If you take that money and give it to your stockbroker and he goes and plays the market with it and loses it, he doesn't give it back. And so when we talk about the risk reward aspect of those things, it's just a win-win all around.
absolutely. And as the saying goes, they're not making any more of land. So
Yep.
uh, it,
Yep.
it is that concrete asset that is there for anybody, especially for the way population movement is occurring. Developers, especially here in Central Texas where I'm at. I live in Round Rock, and there's
Okay.
a ton of open land, but right next to it is a huge subdivision or a ton of apartment buildings, and it's just waiting for the pickings. And I'm sure
Sure.
they're just waiting for the right time. And things are expanding way further east, Hutto, Taylor, Rockdale. Just the way the terrain is laid out in Austin and the geography is.
You got to go east, right?
Yeah, you got to go
So all
east.
around where the loop that they built on the east side, that yeah, I've driven that a couple times and seeing how it's developing up over the time frame. I'm sure that the people had that vision of going, okay, this is what they're doing. We got to go buy that up because know what's going to happen, and the value is just going to continue to go up and up and up.
Absolutely. Okay, Michael. Well, this has been a great conversation, man. Thank you for sharing.
Well, thanks for the invitation. This was awesome. I really enjoyed this.
My pleasure. And this will get sent over to you right away, so you have that recording.
Great.
And I'll work to piece it together, and I'll let you know when we've got it posted. But maybe we can schedule a chat next week to see if we can figure out a way in which we could help you out in any way possible.
Sure.
Especially finding more partners for you, just so that we can help you continue to grow.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that, and I look forward to hearing from you.
All right, Michael. Sounds good, sir. You have a good day.
All right, you do the same.
Thanks. Bye.